I mean, we should have known we were going to win because I set up another post-game chat.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 179 of Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home. There we go. Now I'm looking at the camera.
Camera 1 or camera 2? All right. Go ahead, man.
Camera 1, camera 2.
Yeah.
Camera 1, camera 2. There's a Wayne's World reference there. Man, we had comments rolling before we even started. Soap Dish here. Tristan here. Woo, baby! Lark's gonna have a career year. Tristan called it before the season started.
Well, yeah, he's playing with the MVP and Lucas Raymond. Woo!
Yeah, let's get the conversation started right there. Is there anybody that looks more excited right now than Dylan Larkin on the ice? I mean, it's like he's just excited for hockey again. Is the main point here.
He does look reinvigorated to be playing with his son, Lucas Raymond. I think he's also really tickled that he gets to play with a healthy Bertuzzi, not a broken Mantha, not a broken Bertuzzi, healthy Bertuzzi. My God, thank you for putting this goal up. So I hope you guys are on YouTube because, good Lord, and then this celebration. I'm glad he wasn't next to the boards because he would have shattered that glass in that Red Wing fan's eyes. That was a hell of a punch. Wham!
Yeah, let's pull that sucker up, right? Got to turn off Chris so we don't get kicked off YouTube by the NHL. But yeah, we can just watch as people trickle in to watch the show. They know what we're celebrating. Of course, like what I was talking about.
Can I say too, real quick, before we actually get into the deets? I was yelling for the goals in this game because it felt like we were actually competing with one of the best teams in the league. It wasn't luck or flukes. It was Ernie busting his ass for the whole 60 minutes. I actually wanted him to play the whole overtime because that's how well he looked tonight. But then they put the sugar, they put the razzle dazzle out there, Lucas and Larkin and Bertuzzi, and man, 4-on-4, we actually looked like, damn, we can hold our own against these guys. And this wasn't Ovechkin on one leg or anything. This was point leader, league leader Ovechkin. This was hungry at home Capitals team, and the Red Wings. My God, Matt, they won some scrums and they won this goddamn game. This was fun.
Shameless plug here, too. The Retire 73 t-shirt is still available at bodpodcast.com. You just go on over to the shop button on the homepage.
This game was all about that dude. Because, man, we talked about it in the pre-show. Look, there's a play, and I'm gonna talk some smack about the Kaiser getting annihilated by oh my God, Tyler Johnson. I almost forgot his name again. 2 games ago when Tyler just kind of, barreled into the 6'5", 250-pound Kaiser, he got a goal on him. And much in that same vein, there's a play where Nick Jensen, Matt, what an incredible defenseman. I wish we had. He snuffed out Larkin. Larkin playing incredible, but man, Nick Jensen, what a defenseman. And I just plays like that with Nick Jensen, they're just stay on Larkin. That's your goal today. So I for Ernie to kind of see what was going on and just take it upon himself to just keep grinding and forechecking and being persistent, where it wasn't just, I love Larkin, I love Lucas, I love Bertuzzi. I feel like that's one mega rush and then the play resets. But Ernie's just like, God damn it, I'm going to do a first rush and a second rush and a third rush, and it's all going to be on the same line change. Yeah. And he wouldn't give up, Matt. It was so consistent and persistent, that Ernie effort today.
A couple of shout-outs. Also checking in. Performance Art's here. Brennis is here. Performance Art, great win. Team's different. You're gonna owe me a cider jersey. And Craig McDonald, great game. These kids are for real. I love this. This is the attitude I want to see coming in now. Every single.
It felt real tonight, didn't it, guys? It felt real tonight.
Yeah. This is what I wanted to bring up. Soap Dish thrown out there. The hustle in OT was impressive. Yes. I tweeted out at the start of overtime that let's get some puck possession, boys, because if we remember that Tampa Bay overtime,
oh my God,
holy shit, was that ugly. But that was them owning the puck, especially when it was Larkin, Raymond, and Sider out there. And Sider was doing some amazing puck play too, knocking the puck down to make sure it was easier for Dylan Larkin to play before they lost it. And that was on the go round before they scored. But Lucas Raymond really moving well out there with all that open ice on 3-on-3. He is clearly built to have some success. And they nearly scored on the go around before Larkin puts one in, because Lucas was bringing all of Washington's defenders over to him, and then he's going to throw it across the ice over to wide open Dylan Larkin. It's just it's one of those things. After the game, Trevor Thompson was talking to Larkin, and he's actually egging Thompson is egging Larkin on to like say Larkin's got to, or Raymond's got to take that shot, and Larkin's like, you know what? It all turned out okay, so we're going to talk about that at another time. So you can tell the veteran Larkin is like, shit, Raymond, you got to put that sucker in. Yeah. Don't worry about me. You got to put that in. There's one more thing, though, I wanted to throw out there, and this is more to Soap Dish's point with the hustle and OT. But Larkin said, like, their first goal was that they saw Ovechkin was out there for the first couple of minutes of overtime. So they were just playing to rag the puck to tire Ovechkin out. And then the second he's off the ice is when they scored. So, I mean, Ovi really is right now looking to have like this.
God, he had some beautiful passes, didn't he? Oh my
Ovi?
God. Yeah, he had that cross-ice saucer pass that almost got a one-timer with like 2 minutes left to go in the game. I thought that was it. He got it. Somehow he sauced it around like 3 Red Wings, and I don't know who else on the planet makes that play besides Lucas Raymond. But it was a beautiful pass.
I'll say this just to change the subject just for a split second, or stick with what you're talking about. But this is special, like getting to watch Ovechkin, especially this season so far, like where he's really tearing it up.
Yeah, he's dialing in, man.
I don't know if we get enough excitement. Like I had people ragging on me for being excited on Twitter today, for being excited for an opportunity to watch Ovechkin play. Like that's what we're missing.
I'm going to that Capitals game.
Yeah, as NHL fans.
Yeah,
I think we get too stuck on like trying to celebrate our own team. And I mean, another guy that you have to pay a ticket to go see is Connor McDavid, and I just feel like I don't know if we are trained well enough by the media to know that you can get excited for these guys and still root against them. Like that's where my head's at.
While you're bringing up that point, and we got people kind of coming into the chat here, how did you guys feel? No, talking about like how the media portrays like the stars of the NHL, like the personalities. I saw that god awful trailer for TNT hockey. Why should you care about Connor McDavid? Well, look at him; he's scoring in this highlight. Like, come on, man, let's put a little sugar on that puppy. So I just wanted to say that like Kuznetsov doing that weird bird flap after his goal. I didn't have a problem with that at all. We need more of that. We need Daniels eyeballs on the show.
He was trolling that after they showed that in the replays, like whatever the heck that is. I think that's a quote. That's verbatim.
No, but then we gotta listen to like Keating in the in between periods. Now, if you were that goalie, how would you take that? I'm like, come on, dog. Like,
right? Yeah.
I don't know. I just am I the minority on this one again? I'm fine to admit that, but I don't mind seeing Larkin, punching the whatever air molecules dared to be in his vicinity. I don't mind seeing Kuznetsov turn into some sort of bird creature. I want more of that, man. I want more personality out of these guys.
I want to go to Tristan's point here, and I have to, because in the last episode, Tristan, you made a great point of on Stevens as I was signing off, and I saw your comment as I was wrapping up and downloading the episode. So I apologize for that. But Tristan, throwing out there, Mike, if we replace DeKeyser with a capable first pair, left side defenseman, hopefully, we lock in Shane Wright and get Verona back. We're in the playoffs next year. Now, here's the funny thing, Mike. You said we look legit tonight. I will say I was going to make an argument, and we'll get into this in a little bit, that a lot of this was still Thomas Greiss keeping us in it because he
Oh
had
my God, he
another
had some
great
unbelievable saves.
he had another great goals saved above expected game, and it's like to say that he had another game where we gave up a ton of chances and we stayed in it. I think Osgood put it best, like during the broadcast. I do love Mickey Redmond, but he's pretty fucking smart.
Yeah.
He said this is one of those things where the Red Wings are just working to shorten the game. So just by that meaning, there's 5 minutes left and it's 2-2. It's that we just played a 5-minute game with Washington and it's 0-0, and whoever scores the next goal is going to win.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to put it because it definitely was something, Mike. I think at the first 6 games of this season, we saw a strategy that was definitely more wide open, and I think this is where we got punished for it because there's so much talent on Washington's team. And really, right now, Washington's testing out as the best 5-on-5 team in the league, so we can't get too caught up in the fact that we got absolutely lunched 5-on-5. But where I'm going with Tristan's point is that even with that, we had a great goaltending performance, and you can't just push away a win like this, right? You're down 2-0. You could definitely quit on this game. We've seen the Red Wings quit on it before.
Yeah, I think that's Osgood was saying. Be careful. This is really easy to turn 3, 4, 5 goals because that's how strong they are. Yeah.
And so it was one of those things where they locked it down after the first period, which is I'm going to take a quick look so I don't talk out of my ass. But that was clearly the most dominant period for Washington with a 73% of they had 73% of the scoring chances and then finished off with basically close to 50% for the rest of the game. So you play a pretty even game the second and third period. That's where we're playing more legit hockey, right? So here I'm coming back to Tristan's point finally. Again,
we're checking our watches, man.
Can we land a Shane Wright? That's kind of where I'm stuck right now. Because we do legit look better. And I think if I talked about this in our bonus episode that we released last night with Devin from the Hockey Writers. And we talked about if Verana's on this team the whole season, is this a team that sniffs the playoffs? And we both decided to land on the thought, it's tough to argue absolutely not, which I think is a good point to have. But the problem, Mike, now is that are we going to push ourselves away from that conversation of being in the draft lottery conversation with trying to lock up, one of those bottom 4 spots where you have, it's close to number 1 as possible is what I should say. So you can get that Shane Wright possibility. Are we playing ourselves out of that? Do you see a team like where we say we look legit? Are we just looking legit from your perspective? Are we looking legit from an effort point of view, or is this legit from wins point of view when we talk about that?
I would still say that we are less talented than the Capitals. Like I think it was evident even in this win. But it definitely felt like we showed more effort than them, throughout this game, and that's where it kind of comes back, to that point where our first rush is, they did get snuffed out quite a few times, but where the Red Wings had success was on those second, third, just keep fighting on that same shift and still just try to get something, try to sustain pressure, just try to wear them out. So yeah, I don't know if this is like a Stanley Cup championship team.
Right.
But we've seen the Red Wing attempt to, kind of play some veterans that are at the, end of their contracts, at the end of their careers, and just try to tank the season. And even with all those efforts, with historically bad records, historically bad teams, it doesn't guarantee you anything. So you still get a rough pick. So as exciting as it would be to get Shane Wright, and I'm already reading the Athletic articles, I think I overranked him a little bit. He might be a tier down. Like, come on, wait till we draft him. It's so tough to keep even caring about who the top prospect is in the NHL because it just doesn't feel like there's any luck for the Red Wings. And instead, this is going to be something where we're not going to get luck. We're not going to get Connor. We're not going to draft Ovechkin. We're going to have to win with effort. We're going to have to win with smarts. And I feel like we're showing that we have the effort on the ice. And, they brought up that really cool statistic today about how is Lafreniere doing? How's our boy Tim Stützle doing? How's Lucas Raymond doing? And who's got the most points among those guys, in this season? And obviously it's a tiny, tiny sample size. But, it makes you feel like the guys up top, obviously Yzerman, know what they're doing. So I'm not even going to read about Shane Wright. I'm not going to read about all his strengths because it's not going to be in the Red Wings' future, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with us prioritizing effort and prioritizing how do we succeed, how do we draft the 4th pick in the draft.
Well, I like this is my favorite thing now is when we do these post games. There's so many different comments I want to grab onto. But first of all, Ashton, first time catching a live, been enjoying for a month or two now. Ashton, thank you for coming aboard. Also, anybody that's watching right now, if you could and you have been enjoying the show, please throw a like down on the video. And then if you haven't yet, please subscribe. We'd love to have you guys back so we can get some input. Because like I said, we are getting some amazing comments right now to help me figure out what I want to talk about next.
Throw them out there. What do we got? Is there too many?
These are kind of working hand in hand because Salty Wings and Avs fan says, I just hope we get a top 10 pick. And Decrepit Origin 888, be nice to grab another point or two against Florida. So here's the issue. Because you said it's good to see that some of our decisions are like working in the right direction. I am going to go into the next game rooting my nuts off. I want us to win. There's nothing in me right now that of the last couple of seasons still remains because this team is so much fun for me right now. I think it's one of those things where I can root hard because in my heart of hearts, I still believe that this team won't fail me, but they'll take a dive down the standings. But right now, it's really fun to play this game of, oh my gosh, what if we did this? What if there was enough here to have some fun this year? And it's going to hurt us. And I've said since this show started, Mike, we're on our 3rd season, but since the show started, I said, you don't want this team to make the playoffs and like eke in because that's going to make this rebuild take that much longer where you just need to lose, luck out on a Shane Wright, and go from there. And here we are. We got 4 wins to start the season. We get a pretty fun overtime win against Washington, and now we're going to be going into. I think the next game is this Friday against. I might as well just look it up against Florida, and I want to come away with a win. Does everybody else feel that way? Here we go. Performance art is. I want Shane, obviously, but fuck, I need playoff hockey.
Man, I'm going to be rooting for a win. And I know the bottom's still got to drop out a little bit because we've been extremely healthy, knock on wood, outside of Verona. We haven't been destroyed by COVID. We haven't really got any big boo-boos besides Verona. And then that Verona was kind of a lucky accident because we got to see Lucas Raymond play on the first line, like from the get-go. So that kind of worked out. Tristan dropping Florida would be without a head coach. So
should have been without a head coach tonight, in my opinion. But we can get into that later.
Just thinking about smart plays, like that Seider pick just looks better and better every single shift. And I'm going to give him, I know that this is an Ernie game, right? We're going to call him an Ernie game when it's just the Red Wings scrapping to death. But on that first goal that made it 2-1, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm going to give credit to that goal to Seider. He made that initial dump, and I think in years past, before we had him, there was instances where, it was, time to dump it in the, offensive end and somebody go chase it. And it would take like 3 or 4 strides, from dump, Red Wing get in there, stride, get in, touch puck, and then try to do something with it. But Seider just made such a subtle hesitation before he officially dumped it in, where he crossed the line, made a pivot to make people kind of watch what he's doing. and then dumped it in. So then after there was a Red Wing, only took about one stride and they were touching the puck. So it was like quicker control, and it's the idea, it's the same concept, but it's just something that gives the whole shift more meaning because you have control of it quicker. You're not burning up more energy just getting the puck. You already have the puck, and now you can start doing more aggressive, maneuvering.
Well, I unfortunately don't have. I can't rewind the replay back any further than this.
But it was this goal, yeah.
Yeah, so I do think this is a good transition, though, to talk about Hronek coming back and having an okay showing to get going. But clearly, again, like we already talked about, like Ernie's. He's trying to help us sell T-shirts again. Of course, go to bodpodcast.com, click on the shop button, and you can have an entire 73 T-shirt. But yeah, I wanted to transition into this because I think there's still more conversation back to Tristan's comment a while back of Hronek having an okay showing. Let me take a look real quick at this.
Can I shout out Tristan real quick?
I'm sorry?
Can I shout out Tristan real quick?
Yeah.
Hi Tristan, Michael. I made a comment about highlights for goals being too long. And the only way that my cider comment even works is if you do a long view look at that goal. So Tristan, part of the enjoyment of that play, I'm going to give credit to you, buddy. So thank you, Tristan.
See, this is what we do on Red Wings Rant. We call ourselves out. So to talk about Filip Hronek, I got to say, Mike, these are actually pretty consistent numbers that Hronek's had since the season started. So I wanted to bring this to everybody's attention just to kind of pull back on, I think there was a way to think about this. And then there was like an extra bonus thought that I don't know if you should necessarily attach it, but Hronek gets benched for a couple of games. Again, the 5-on-5 statistic. Oh, shoot. I'm not even showing what stat that is. The expected goals for percentage for Hronek is 32.02. So what that means is he's almost given up 70% of the chances when he's on the ice. And that includes a guy who almost scored a goal. So who gets right in on the net and his expected goals for is still absolutely trounced. So I'm not trying to take a dump on Hronek, but more or less just the idea that I haven't seen him play amazing hockey. I like that he had that awesome play to help us, start the catch-up game. Everybody was outchanced tonight, but this is more of what I have seen from Hronek, where it's not. I haven't seen him. I guess just from that perspective of getting that win, getting that ownership of the ice for the game from a chances perspective. I haven't seen it yet, and the analytics kind of follow along that game. So I'm going to sit here. Part of me bringing this up is just that I think Hronek deserved the benching, but the other part that I think people were upset about was why was Danny DeKeyser not benched, because he clearly looks worse than Hronek. So my argument is kind of like two-sided here of like, I'm okay with Hronek being benched, but I don't know how much longer, and this is where I wanted this to go. I don't know how much longer we can put up with this guy, because DeKeyser is one of those things where it's noticeably bad, and it's hard to stomach. It's not hard to watch. It's just, it looks like he moves so slow. It looks like he's in pain, and I'm not saying he actually is in pain, but it's just at this point it has to be an easier decision than continuing to, let's just put DeKeyser with our best defenseman, Seider, and then it'll be okay. I do worry that that's part of the decision making that's going on there, because I doubt that Seider needs to hear anything from DeKeyser at this point outside of like what would happen between the whistles. Like, I just don't know what Seider's going to see from DeKeyser's play right now. And not to say that if he was up to speed, if he could still skate, there's still things that DeKeyser could show Seider. But I think at this point, it's just there's too much that's holding DeKeyser back, that's holding that pairing back. And whenever DeKeyser's on the ice, it's holding that line back. So I don't know.
I have a lot of trouble with the stats, though. The stats, because, I mean, Seider is our worst defenseman at this.
I'm sorry?
So our worst defenseman for expected goals for is Mo Seider.
And so here's the thing, Mike. This all started once he started playing with Danny DeKeyser. So we're actually able to say that Moritz Seider was one of the best defensemen in the league from an expected goals for percentage perspective until he was paired with Danny DeKeyser. It slows him down that much.
See, can you scroll back up for me?
Yeah.
Because this stat, I feel like it holds a little more weight for forwards. Because I believe, eyeball test, it looks like Ernie would be winning his share. Lucas Raymond, we've heard Blashill talk about it. Yeah, I love this kid. Not just, I know he's making incredible plays on offense, but defensively, he's playing both sides of the ice. I'm really impressed. Same with the Mesnikov.
Before you finish your thought, it is an on-ice perspective statistic, so it's just being on the ice. So this does take into consideration when Moritz Seider's on the ice with Lucas Raymond and he gets a good chance on net. That adds to Moritz Seider's expected goals for.
So how does that factor in with Mark Stahl? Because I don't feel like he's ever matched up with the other team's top line.
Well, Mark Stahl actually had a pretty good game today. He was actually using his weight to move guys off the puck.
He wasn't noticeably bad. I feel like I've seen him a few times. He made a couple smart plays. I was impressed with.
Yeah, I would say that Mark Stahl's play today actually tracks with this number. But in the same way that Danny DeKeyser and unfortunately Moritz Seider, because he's playing with DeKeyser, how that number tracks as well, because they were on the wrong side of things most of the night. And because DeKeyser so many times was missing the mark on his shots and also was behind on so many passes where they had set up plays where you're supposed to be passing to the guy that's coming in last and DeKeyser's nowhere to be seen. That play is just gone. It just disappears. It's not even a chance. And it's because of DeKeyser. And then that offensive zone opportunity ends with no shot. And you could 100% point to the fact that DeKeyser wasn't in the spot he was supposed to be. And it's not even about bad positioning. He's just not fast enough to get there. And when it's that noticeable from my perspective, and when Jeff Blashill makes the argument that they have 8 NHL-ready defensemen, which includes Osterley in that conversation.
Who's yet to play.
And he's a left side defenseman. Yep. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, DeKeyser, I can't even just knock it against him for not being fast enough, like you said. He's not, but Mark Stahl, man, have you ever been in a 1990 Honda Civic driving uphill in Colorado?
No.
I have. And that's the kind of horsepower Mark Stahl brings to the ice, because it takes a long time just to get up to 30 miles an hour. But I'm just saying, knowing that Mark Stahl has the horsepower of a 1990 Honda Civic, DeKeyser still looks objectively worse than that.
I would have been a big fan if you had asked that question and still said me neither, but we just moved on. Yeah, I don't know. We talked about this.
We're not here to just keep trashing them. That's not what this episode's about. This is fun, but
well, I mean, it's one of those things where somebody will write an article and they'll ask what's going on, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about DeKeyser. And you ask the question like, oh, how much longer can we put up with this? And then there's no real solution or anything attached to it. And I mean, there's so many things we could bring up from the last couple of seasons, like the Blashill blender kind of thing. And my response would be, well, there's not really too much there for Blashill to rely upon. But let's talk about this DeKeyser situation. The easy solution is it's right there. We don't even have there's no debate. It's either go down to Grand Rapids and literally pick up anybody else that can skate and just watch that happen. Maybe that'll implode. Or just put in Osterley, who's been practicing with the team since day one. It makes no sense. And I would also say too, the penalty kill today. I did feel like it did miss Gustav Lidstrom today, and I don't know.
But I mean that Kuznetsov goal. I don't know who could have stopped it.
Jared's thrown out there. Do we want? I would take. I just for the sake of change. Can we play for the sake of change? Let's get Lashoff in there. He's the captain though of Grand Rapids right now. You don't want to be.
Brian Lashoff is a jabroni.
Machines.
He's a jabroni. All right. If he was in wrestling in the Attitude Era, he'd be part of the Job Squad with Al Snow. Absolutely not. No, don't give me Brian Lashoff.
This is a great point from Brennis. Blash lets players try and prove themselves. Sadly, the experiment isn't working. I would say
I disagree. I think he's let DeKaiser prove that he's terrible.
Yeah, that is a good point, Mike. Maybe it is working. Maybe
I think after every DeKaiser shift, he kind of looks up to find Yzerman up there, up in the 800th row, to be like, see?
Can we play that? Let's play that game real quick, because Hronek is the guy that he knows can play better, and he's actively trying to, like, all right, we're going to give you some time off. I want you to reflect on the way you've been playing. We're going to change your D pairing. But for DeKaiser, he stays in there because he needs him to continuously play so bad that when he has the next conversation, when there's a break, a few more extra days, and they can.
When he's put on waivers, we have a lot of tape about why.
Let me throw this out there to you, Mike, and then do it to the listeners.
Yes.
Are you at the point right now where you'd be okay with moving a draft pick to fill in another left side defenseman if we find out Osterley can't play much better than DeKaiser? Let's say we get Osterley in there, it's not working out. We're right now, we're in a playoff spot. If we gave up, let's say, let's do it. I'll throw in second rounders. How many second rounders do we have? I'll pull up Cap Friendly right now to make sure we don't give anybody any false information here. All right. Well, yeah, we just have the 2 second rounders. So let's throw that out there.
Thanks, Capitals, for the win and the second round pick.
Right. It's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark.
Yep.
I right now, I'm going to at least think about it. I think it would have to be pretty juicy if it's a second rounder. And I would say if it's anything third round or later, it doesn't have to be too juicy, but I'd need to know that there's some compete left in that human being.
Matt, I gotta say, is that the question? You ready for me to respond?
Yeah.
I gotta say you're nuts. I still think the guy that we could play on defense is on this roster. I'm not trading a single draft pick for defensemen. I'm trading them for forwards because we still need people who can score. God bless Ernie. God bless that first line. But, man, woo, what a dearth after that. I still think we could use one more piece. Obviously, that's for Verano once he's ready to roll. That's going to really be an impact. But, man, Yzerman has just got to be sitting there going, do I become a buyer?
Well, I mean, there were some options that I thought Wyatt Newpower, who's now with Grand Rapids, was going to, fight for a spot on this team. So I thought that was legit.
Rowney?
I'm sorry?
Rowney?
Oh, Rowney. No, he's our forward. Dan Renouf. That's who you're thinking of.
No, I was thinking of forwards because I want another one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not.
So you're just calling. You want Newpower instead of DeKaiser. So you're still trying to line up the job squad when we got a perfectly good Osterley and we got a perfectly good Lindstrom waiting in the wings.
Well, Lindstrom is going to fit on the right side, so I'm trying to find another left side defenseman. I know.
I'm one of those new age baseball managers. I don't care about lefty righty. Just go play on the other side. All right.
I did
get a job or not.
I did get in that argument recently. I did get in that argument recently, and somebody's rebuttal was just, well, they call it the wrong side for a reason. You have your right side, your left side, your right side, and then there's the wrong side when you put the guy on the other side of the ice. I still made the argument a couple episodes ago that going through a third of the league, there's still 5% of D pairings have wrong side defensemen playing other side. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, we saw Stetcher today knock a game out of the park. I thought he was really good today, and the analytics test follows that line. So you've got a Stahl and Stetcher still playing great. You need to change the Sider pairing, and something's got to work with Hronek eventually.
Seider's good, but at this age, he can't quite have a coattails defenseman. He still needs somebody in a in a booster seat position.
Well, Letty, that's the thing too, because Letty's been playing he was playing great with Seider. So I think if this is moving in the direction where we need to start getting these wins, if that's what we care about most, which Yzerman, Blashill both said, we don't care about wins, we care about development. But if we do start to worry about wins, you just put Seider and Letty back together because that was working. And then the big thing is doing the Blashill blender with our second pairing, maybe third pairing with whoever's with Hronek to figure that shit out.
Who's going to also play 26 minutes a game or get a healthy scratch?
I'm sorry?
I said, who is going to have 26 minutes a game or a healthy scratch? I'm talking about Hronek. Who's going to be part of that pairing? Who plays half the game or they get a day off? Yeah.
Well, I think those numbers will come back the more he plays like doo-doo. He does get the toughest assignments too. So there that obviously figures into it. But
he's also objectively our most aggressive offensive defenseman.
Hronek?
Are you going to try and throw Letty at me? Because I would still argue.
No, I'd go with that. So I'm playing a rough game right now of trying to read through all the comments, and I need you to pull like a Game of Thrones where you say everybody's name in every single line of dialogue so that I know who you're talking about.
I really needed that when I read the books. I couldn't keep track of anybody.
Yeah, you really need like a notepad. So yeah, I would say here's the problem, because I was gonna have to look down at our Grand Rapids options, and I brought up Wyatt Newpower, but he's still a right side defenseman, so I fucked that one up. But yeah, Lashoff is really looking like the only real option, unless we want to give Sabrango, 19-year-old Sabrango, a longer shot than what he got during training camp, which I also don't think is going to happen. So that's where I come back to that conversation of the trade. And I'll say again, I'll land on the second rounder would really have to be something that's going to be here long term, because we are, Mike, next season, if we're improving this team, we are needing a left side defenseman, because we're going to lose. We have 1-year contracts with DeKeyser, Letty, and Stahl. So at some point, you're going to need to add one. And we know that Yzerman is Mr. Fleece himself. So why not wrap ourselves in a nice, warm left side defenseman fleece as the winter starts rolling, and just get that out of the way now, and we're good. There's no point in waiting till next season, is kind of my point here. Because even if you look at the free agents available, I think what we're doing, we're not making a huge... what am I trying to say? What's the phrase for just getting a huge free agent signing? And I don't even like doing free agent signings.
Like a splashy free agent signing. Yeah, other than ones I want are restricted.
Yeah, and I'd much rather find the trade for a contract that's already signed, and we could take advantage of that. I just haven't done any research on who that is, so I'm playing that game I mentioned earlier where somebody comes up with a problem and not a real solution. But yeah, I'd say... why not get that problem out of the way now? And we have, maybe we have a first or second line pairing ready to go for next year.
Before we start trading away second rounders, can we see how bad Osterley looks?
Yeah, you can. I that was part of my qualification. I said
he plays left or right. This is my kind of dude. He doesn't give a damn. Just get me on the ice, man.
Doesn't give a fuck. No, that was part of my game. You got to let Osterley get his shot in there, but I don't see. I don't think anybody could make an argument as to why. I mean, the only argument to not get that left side defenseman now, if something became available, is because you want to make sure we still look like shit for the rest of the year. And right now, again, like I said earlier, I'm going into this weekend. I want 2 more wins. I want to take down Florida and that shithole of a team in Toronto, which is. I want to see if did they actually end up beating Chicago? Let me pull this up. Oh, they did. Okay, so they caught up and beat Chicago.
Wow,
as they should. I mean, it's a pretty nuts day for Chicago. I feel like their heads.
And the less said about Chicago, the better. Good Lord.
All right, so we did kind of screw up here, so I'm gonna have to do some fancy editing work later. But Mike, we got some business to take care of. I don't know about you, but I was putting down some cash on the game tonight, so I did put some money down on the Wingdings while we were actually. Yeah, I did it at the beginning of the third. It was actually it was insane. The numbers that they were giving to Washington over Detroit when it was just a 1-goal game. They were acting like Washington had like a 6-goal lead. So Maddie made buck.
Well, you know who pays you out, man, big bucks? That'd be DraftKings Sportsbook. And you know what? They cater to other sports. So you know what? NFL fans hungry for a big win this week. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Hey, you can bet hockey if you want. Has you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game. And if they do, you win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner. Chicken dinner is in the ad copy. It's that simple. You know, I would start putting money down. DraftKings makes it really easy to be a Lions fan because the Lions keep opening up with these double-digit point spreads, and they cover. They don't have one against the Eagles this week. It's only 3, so it's going to be a little bit of a whoop, whoop. I don't know if I'm putting money on that game, but they're going to show effort. Anyway, if Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code THPN. Bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Whew. I didn't stumble that time. I got through it. All right, so we need to do an episode at some point of like juicy trade options from all the butthole teams, and then like Tampa Bay. Who else? Toronto. They're all at the bottom of the standings. We'll get all those teams that are going to finish dead last.
Let's pillage the bad teams. Yeah.
Of course, we say that in jest. I do wonder, though. I know this is a Red Wings podcast, and this is going to anger everybody. But what really does, like, when does Toronto say, "All right, we fucked up"? and Mike, your mention a few. I can actually say, right? This was a couple of years ago. You said they better hope Mike Babcock was the problem.
And where's that T-shirt? I should have sold that.
That tweet, not ours, but there was a tweet of somebody said that, and it was trending this past week on Twitter. So you were way ahead of the game on nailing that one. So
what can I say? Yeah, they're in trouble. Yeah, thank you.
Right,
so yeah, I'm excited to watch that game. God, wait, is it on the road?
That is in Toronto. So we're back in Detroit against Florida, and then we go to Toronto the next night.
Any word on Canada lightening up on non-vaccinated people? Because we could really use Bertuzzi in that game.
Yeah, that would have been nice, but
damn it.
I even saw it in the last episode where we didn't have Bertuzzi. I brought it up as a major point of frustration, and it has to be, especially now that we're winning games, and it feels more fun to win, and I don't want us to forcibly lose to get a good draft pick. It's super frustrating knowing that we're about to go Saturday and then this next Tuesday against Montreal again, and we're immediately shorthanded.
And again, it's not just that he's a good player. He's playing like one of the better players in the National Hockey League. And so to have him just not a chance of him being available, it's devastating. And you got to, redo your first line, like your first power play. God, it's really tough.
Yeah, for everything to be broken up like that too, it is super frustrating. It does not get me excited for those games. I know I still want to win.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a bummer. We are running out of things to talk about. We did get some nice mentions here. Where was it? Performance art. I live in Toronto. It's where players come to end their careers now. And Jared, with the great point here, the official numbers now are there's only one player who is unvaccinated. So we're the only team affected by this right now. Yeah. And around the fur, does anybody else feel bad for the Leafs, or am I on an island here to come back to that last point?
Not in Detroit, bud. We got the Lions.
Like, if we're losing, I go to check on the Leafs score to make sure, like, that makes me feel better. Because us losing, like, that's a part of the plan, right? That's what the Joker said in The Dark Knight. I referenced that in my last solo episode. So, but when the Leafs lose, that's chaos, right? Like, they're supposed to be at the top, so it feels good. I love chaos.
Toronto has won playoff games. We've barely had like two in like 57 years. No,
they can't win a series, but they've won some.
They've won individual games. I mean, they've had reason for excitement. I think the Lions versus the Leafs is pretty interesting debate, but I think the Lions win hands down.
Mike, how about this one? Performance art. I'm expecting a Saturday surprise with Bert.
Bert's
going to show up.
If that happens, there's going to be a lot of spit takes on Detroit televisions because no way.
Can I just say, this doesn't work this way, but at Detroit Red Wings on Twitter, make sure you get a video of that syringe going in, because that is going to be the biggest video in Twitter history, at least in hockey Twitter history. That will blow the fuck up. And it won't just be Red Wings fans, but that'll be the biggest video in Twitter history. I would love to be the person like trying to get that call into Bert. You're going where? Huh? Which Meyer?
So wait, if he's actually going to get his shot, right? And you're gonna put it on video. You can't. You got to get like a huge like novelty sized syringe. I think like a giant, big inflatable, just something gargantuan.
Jared's thrown out there. Just make sure he doesn't get his card from Evander Kane. That's a key element. I hope that that would be. If I was honest here, if I found out that Bert was just all of a sudden vaccinated, that would be the first thought going through my head, is that he's pulling up with a fake vaccine card and everybody's looking at him like, Bert, no, it's right here, guys. See, like he's putting it closer to the Bert. Let me check your phone. You've been talking to Evander again?
I do. I feel kind of bad I almost feel bad for Bert.
He's not getting it.
Fethar, my dude, how are you? But no. That video is going to be just, if it ever happens, hilarious. Just
right, would.
You ever see that footage of somebody pretending to hug themselves and they ooh, it's going to be like Bert's going to have, the shot. Oh, I feel so vaccinated. Like, no, turn around, Bert. I want to see it penetrate the skin. This isn't real.
Ooh, oh boy, that's a saucy word. All right, anything else
after this win? Let me tell you.
Anything else we want to talk about? I still actually never got a chance to bring up these the Greiss numbers, but it's one of those things where I hope that we keep coming back to this, because this was a great overtime win. It's great that Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider are jumping further up the rookie. I was going to say standing leaderboards for points, as Lucas gets another assist. Raymond Seider gets another assist. So I think Seider's sitting at 6. But we have to keep coming back to Greiss and Nedeljkovic too. In the last game, had an amazing goal saved above expected, despite giving up 3. And this is Greiss giving up a couple, and the 1.64 I think was evident just from the eyeball test. So this again, for anybody who's not familiar, this is the expected goals calculation, and it says this is how many goals Greiss should have given up, and how many did he actually give up. So you subtract those numbers, and that's how you get the 1.64 difference. So he's anything in the positive, good. Anything in the negative, like Vanacek there is bad poopy. So his poopy pee numbers here kind of illustrate, and I should say for Vanacek, that you could argue that he was part of the reason the Wings got the win, which is because he was. The argument would be that he let in some softies. I mean, you think about the Ernie goal; that was sort of a mess, so you can't really blame him on that. And then, of course, the Larkin goal was just. I mean, that was just pure beauty. I don't know if anybody stops that Larkin shot. That was fucking great. So it's just one of those things. You could make the argument that if he's seeing less chances, should he be pulling one of those goals back? I'm not going to argue that. I'm happy with the result, but it's more or less let's continue the conversation on Greiss, because this is Greiss shutting down the top 5-on-5 team in the league today. And that was after giving up a power play goal. So I got to tell you, I was shaking in my boots. So hats off to Greiss. Nobody forget. That's where we get put in our place is this kind of performance right here is the fact that we are giving up more chances, but our goaltenders and I would say too, from the perspective of our defense, at least, while they did get outchanced and outshot today, they are obviously doing a good job of keeping away the chances. Besides that Ovechkin first goal, they're keeping out those second chances in the second and third period that really would have made this game go in the other direction. So hats off from that direction.
Off to Greiss. God, remember what a departure it is, like from the first half of last season when we thought, oh, Yzerman finally missed on an acquisition. Oops. And the second half of last season, the start of this year, it just looks like this guy's so comfortable. I have faith in him when I see Greiss, in the pipes. I feel like, well, we're going to at least have a chance tonight. So I'm really, really happy for that guy. Really a wild 18 months turnaround from where we thought he was going to be to where he is now. So really happy for
him. I do have to pull up Tristan's comments here again, because he's actually, so you guys want to go back to the last episode I had speaking with Devin Little, because he actually has a pretty good article about this on the Hockey Writers website. But it's Vitaly Kravtsov, and I hope I got that right. Just not working out in New York. It's one of those things where that would be another Robbie Fabry attempt.
And he's the dude hiding out in Russia right now, right?
I actually am not sure where he is right now. I just know that this is a boy who's on the trade block, and somebody that is not happy with what his situation is. And I know, like, again, this would be another opportunity at low risk, high reward.
I like that idea, Tristan. If Yzerman's going to do that, he's the king of buying low. So he would wait until that's, a single draft pick instead of two. But I think you're right on the money. Both of you guys, this looks like an Yzerman buy low. Just kind of wait it out. Pick this guy up for, pick him up for donuts to dollars.
Yeah,
let him come here, reclaim his career, because he's still talented. He's just kind of needs a little bit of a different situation, different locale, kind of reboot.
Just an opportunity too, with what was going on in New York. I mean, I know like they're locked and loaded with prospects, but I don't know.
And what's funny too is like with that guy, I was reading about him, and he is like so gung ho about being on the first and second line, being on the power play. And if he came to Detroit, be like, I mean, you should earn your spot, but we also could use somebody on the second line. So I mean, while you're here, you might as well play on the second power play. You're not Lucas Raymond good. Let's not throw this out of proportion here, but yeah, you can be on the second line. I mean, he's got the talent. He would be on our second line, right?
I think there's an argument for a lot of opportunity. I don't know. I know
he does not have a lot of. He doesn't have a lot of tape for us to reference, but like the talent and where he was in the draft, like you would think that he could get to a second line forward, like top six.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If we said middle six, absolutely. And I think that's a spot. I was actually talking to Nick Rivard, I think, on Twitter. Sorry if you're watching. I just got your name wrong. but he made mention of how many different changes he wants to see, including like Rasmussen moving around. And I just shot back and I was like, that bottom nine, you could do a lot of changes right now because it's not super consistent. We got Ernie playing amazing today, but for the most part, I wouldn't point to a lot of names in that bottom nine that have been consistently bringing positive results for the Red Wings. And it's really been, I mean, we've been living and dying with the first line, especially tonight. We win because of that first line, or at least a couple of boys that are on it regularly. So for me to say that he
how about we make this concession that like
Houston, no. Let me finish my thought. It would be silly for me to say that he couldn't be on the second line. Is where I'm coming from. I just don't. I'd like to see this actually happen, and then hopefully, we get to hear something from practice to see what's actually going on. But yeah, absolutely, it would be silly for me to say no. Nobody. That second line is locked up.
Yeah, they're not untouchable. Pius and Fabry are not untouchable, and I think you and I have talked about it ad nauseum how exciting it would be for those players to be on the third or fourth line. Like for the Red Wings to have that much depth to knock those guys down.
Now, Brad's pointing out, Ozzy said this is a team that's character is an important piece to who's coming aboard. So Brad's saying here it's hard to see someone who has issues with their current team joining the Wings. I would just say I think he knows what the Rangers see in him, and he feels he deserves more. And I would look at that, and the character involved in that is that he wants to prove himself, and I don't think he's given those opportunities in New York. So just to sort of take that idea and flip it, but stick with the character, I think there's still a character there where if he is in there and proves himself, the Red Wings absolutely want to give a chance to him. But, if they give him that chance and he fails, I don't think it's something where they'd feel they needed to. They wouldn't owe him anything. And again, low risk there. So we're not losing too much. We pointed out in the last episode how minuscule the percentages are of anybody past the first round of actually turning into a full-time NHLer. So trading away those picks that Tristan pointed out, the third and the fifth.
Can you throw that comment back up there?
From Brad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad, I think that's a really good point. Like a really, really good point. Because it really feels like Yzerman's put together a group of guys. I can't pick out one sour grape on the team. I think the closest they had, like in the last 2 years, kind of, was Mantha, because he would have those games where all the commentary would be like, man, he's just not getting, it feels like he's just not quite there yet. Is he injured? He's not quite getting goals in. And it kind of felt like he was thrown in the towel, like, man, what's the point of this? So that was the closest thing. Oh, yeah. Performance art with another excellent comment.
That is probably the best point right there by performance art. And we saw just like what an opportunity, and you give that guy an opportunity and it works out. We're all happy. Like, we're all excited. Think about the connections that we had too with when we were seeing Zadina and Vrana and Hronek just in practice and what that brought in. But I think that's at least one point to say that if you can bring a guy in like that, take the low risk chance, and if it works out, I think it's just winning cures all, scoring cures all. So it could work out just from that sense. Tristan's thrown out there his lines for bringing over Kravtsov, and he's going left wing, and then Fabs is center, and then down below he's got Suter, Rass, and Ernie on a third line, and Mistikov, Stevens, and Smith on a fourth line. And then he wants to throw Vrana in there somewhere too. What's funny is that this is the funny part, is like the third and fourth line where I'm like, it's hard to figure out because and Jared's thrown it in there too with Fabry. Fabry is probably the guy for me that I'm going to push down a line. And when I was mentioning earlier about throwing the bottom nine into a blender, I'd like to see Rasmussen and what he looks like, giving him a shot on a second line. just to see if that kind of turns him on a little bit. Seems like he's on the offensive side turning some stinkers. I think on the defensive side, he uses his body and can win the puck, and he's shown that over the first 7 games now. Not so much tonight, but I'd like to see if that's
Matt,
something where he could get excited.
Can I ask you, is that a guy you would want to see play with Vrana when he comes back?
Rasmussen?
Yeah.
I think, again, it could be anybody as long as it's him getting just getting an opportunity to see where his head's at. If he has, like, his job on the ice is more about scoring than grinding, which
I think that
I do see that placement kind of, I don't know, kind of it just makes him sort of disappear on the offensive side.
It's almost like I want to pitch the question where I'm excited for whoever plays with Vrana because I feel like, you're going to be getting on the stat sheet.
Yeah.
Who outside of, Lucas, Tews, and Larkin would it would benefit Vrana to have on the line with them?
I still like Zadina and Vrana playing together. They had the Checkmates nickname that was made for them, both from Czech Republic, and then they seem to have some pretty good chemistry that was building up. I think that would be good for Zadina from any sense, because I feel like when he's relied upon to be the goal scorer on a line right now, it's just not working out. It does kind of look like he's making the wrong decision a lot of times, and if he does shoot, he's flat out missing the net. So I think that would be something for Zadina to kind of change his mindset a little bit and try and be the playmaker instead of being the goal scorer, which is kind of what's failing him right now, in my opinion. Everybody's kind of throwing in the Zadina, Fabry, Vrana. I do like that, and I think maybe that's where our conversation does get a little fuzzy too with Vitali. But yeah, it's tough. It's definitely something I'd like to put more thought into and try and figure out, like, how do we adjust these lines? Because it's funny, the longer we talk about this team, and I started at this show of like on the highest of all highs, and the more we talk about it, and I see the names that are kind of disappointing me right now with Suter is still, I feel like, trying to get a good rhythm down. Rasmussen, again, just isn't really getting the opportunities I thought or what I imagined for him. Zadina is one of the best expected goals performing forwards in the league, but has 0 finish right now. So you just, like, that bottom 9 for me is just kind of like, whew, it's tough to, land on a single guy that's really blowing your socks off. And I guess it's just kind of, it's killing my mood right now, the more we talk about it. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm running out of energy right now that we've started talking about the bottom 9. We probably should sail off before.
Yeah, let's sail off. I mean, this was a hell of a night. This was probably a game. God damn, I don't know. I haven't been this excited about just a Wednesday night regular season Red Wings game in quite a few years. So it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I still want to settle. This is a great night for Raymond, Seider, especially Dylan Larkin. Again, I think
for Greiss,
yeah, for Greiss too. And I think Larkin again is like has found hockey again. Like he's found his happy, and it's really turning him into.
You want me to turn into McCarty for a second?
Yeah,
you don't, but it's because he's finally healthy.
Oh my God, he's such a douche.
Even Art Regner didn't deserve that, but anyway.
You know what? After that, watching that, we never did get to talk about being at that first game and what a douche Darren McCarty was. I feel bad for Art Regner. He's really turning into a punching bag, and now they do it. They make him go out there live during games and have McCarty just insult him, and it's kind of mean. So fuck McCarty. I don't know. What the fuck, man?
You heard it here first.
Yeah, you heard it here first. He'll never be on the show again. That's fine.
By design. Yeah. Invitation revoked.
All right, yeah. So let's sail off into the sunset. We will. I guess we're gonna have to do a post Leafs game Saturday night because Sunday is Halloween, and I've got my two little ones. I'll be taking out trick or treating because we like candy.
We only get like 2 or 3 trick-or-treaters at my house, so I'm gonna be eating 3 bags of Reese's.
Yeah, I did buy. I bought a whole nother bag at Target yesterday because I was kind of like, all right, well, we'll lose 4 of these pieces of candy, and then I'll have a whole nother bowl of candy to eat while I'm watching. I guess I can't. I can't eat it on Friday and Saturday, but I might. Maybe I'll tear into those and I'll just buy another bag. But everybody, we will see you guys Saturday night, and we'll hopefully be celebrating.
Yet another Red Wings victory.
That would be 4 straight wins. Yeah, I almost said 2 in a row, but 4 straight wins and another Lucas Raymond hat trick. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys.